stated mission of the DFC is working to fulfill the unmet needs of Dixie Fire survivors and helping to rebuild the communities of Greenville, Indian Falls, Canning Dam, and Warner Valley. All programs shall support this mission and purpose, and all who work for or on behalf of the DFC shall understand and adhere to that purpose. Okay, first up is Sherry.
Morning. Nice to see everybody here this morning. We didn't have a meeting in July, so there are a few things to update on. Not too many, but a few. The most recent, those are our beginning monies from PG&E settlement that we had and our contribution. We are averaging about $6,800 a month on interest now on our money that North Valley Community Foundation has invested in a T-bill for us. So we have accumulated $27,474.39 of interest, which brings up our total income now with our original deposits to $3,028,974.39. That's what we're worth. Thank you. These are our grants that we have contributed parts to, along with other donors and contributors, and none of that has changed. We haven't funded any grants recently in that category at all. Thank you. Next one. The only changes here are on the website, we paid our annual fee for maintenance and upkeep and work on the website of $7,800. So that increased the website total, and nothing else in that list. In the next slide, the other thing we added was a post office box. So we paid for our annual fee on our post office box. So our total expenditures are $99,112.06. And our current account balance is $2,598,011.33. These are our commitments now, and this has changed. We originally have committed the $150,000 to help in the cleanup of the historical buildings downtown. We also have committed $48,000 to the Indian Falls water system, phases 1 and 2. We committed $4,000 in the beginning for the communication technician, and we paid for, I think, 4 months now. So we're down to $1,930 on that. We contributed to the planning for Canyon Dam and downtown Greenville, $60,000 our part for that. We also have committed $99,540 to 2-year expenses for a coordinator for the Dixie Fire Disaster Recovery and Build. That's a flown position that is going to be out to hire a coordinator. And then Roundhouse Rebuild is ready to start their building down here, just right down the street, a couple lots over, and they had a gap in their funding. So the steering committee voted to approve $150,000 to help them get going on their building. So our total commitments now are $509,470. Next one, please. So our total expenditures and commitments is $940,433.06. If we divide that by our total income, we have spent or committed 31% of our money, and we still have $2,088,541.33 available. And that's my report.
Thank you, Sherry. All the numbers really help to give us transparency, see what's going on. I really appreciate that. All right, next up, we've got Sierra Institute, Jonathan and Peyton.
Good morning. Good to see everyone again. It's been a couple months since I've been here at one of these meetings. A lot of you have probably seen bits and pieces of this presentation, but I want to give another recap on what mass timber construction is. And I want to welcome everyone to the open house that we're hosting after this, which I'll have details on the screen in a few minutes. So everyone's probably aware of what conventional construction looks like. This diagram is showing what we typically do to build homes, which is using stick frame construction. You see you have your studs, your insulation, and then your layers of sheathing and siding on the outside. And what we're doing is something different than that. We're using mass timber construction, which is inherently different in almost all facets of the construction type. So what is mass timber? Mass timber is a solid engineered wood product. And as you can see in this diagram, what we're using are dimensional pieces of lumber that are actually created into a composite material where we get this really robust panelized system. And when we build with it, we're actually getting panels of walls, roofs, and floors instead of sticks with cavities. And so here you're seeing what that would look like in a wall assembly. And one of the benefits of using mass timber construction is that you're getting this continuous envelope. And so you have your mass timber building system, and then you have a layer of fire resistant insulation on the outside. You have 8 inches of that. And then you have a non-combustible siding material. So what you're getting is this extremely robust building that is going to be really difficult to ignite in the event of a wildfire. And so many of you know that we've been working on a number of mass timber homes in the community. We actually have 3, and Sierra Institute, with the help of so many donations and funders, have put together 3 plans to make available to the community. We actually have one of our architects here who designed the project. She's going to be at the open house as well. So if you'd like to talk to her, she'll be here. And we're facilitating this entire building process for people. And we're really excited to share with everybody what these homes look like. And all of them are built by our local contractor, Ed Hamrick of Lights Creek Construction. And so just to show everyone again what these 3 models are, we have a 1-bedroom loft. You can see that if you're driving down 89, it's over on Cheney Street. We have our 2-bedroom option, which you can all see at the open house today. And then a 3-bedroom option, which will also be at the open house. And we're actually working on a 4th design. It's a 4-bedroom option. It's about 1,500 to 1,600 square feet. And this will be available soon. We're going through the permitting process again to get it pre-approved so that community members can use these plans for the rebuilds. And so this is what's happening at 1:30. We're going to start with a few short speeches over at the spot in the greenhouse. And then directly after that, at 2 o'clock, we're going to do a ribbon cutting, and it'll be open for everyone to come take a look and see where we're at. And then really important project that we're really excited to get started on. Construction is to begin this month. We've been working with Roundhouse Council for probably about 8 months now to get this project going. Thank you to the Dixie Fire Collaborative and North Valley Community Foundation for helping to support some of the funding for this project. And you should very soon start seeing a building go up just 2 properties down from here. And then I'll hand it over to Jonathan.
Thank you, Peyton. Well, this is actually part of that presentation. It's great to see folks out here. And let me just, is Megan Doring waving her hand? That's the Atelier Jones architect. That team has been working on all of these structures. It's great to have an architect in-house. So we've been working, Peyton's been working very closely with Atelier Jones out of Seattle. And yeah, I think it's a great example of sharing the budget about how dollars can help make some things happen. We often have to seed things to get them going. You don't just move on them. And so thank you, Dave Hollister and District Attorney, in terms of the funds raised through the challenge of PG&E and the distribution of funding, which some came to the Sierra Institute. And the first $100,000 we said we're putting towards Roundhouse, and we put in some additional dollars. And that design that you saw a moment ago, that was actually used by the lawyers to argue the Roundhouse case. So, and as a result, We believe that it was foundational in PG&E putting up the money to make sure that we can build that. And yes, as Peyton mentioned, thank you, Dixie Fire Collaborative and North Valley Community Foundation for contributing to that project. Together, yes, we will rebuild and bring all of our folks along in this process. And I will say that certainly in conversation with Roundhouse, we have one last hurdle to clear on that. On the 24th of this month, there is a hearing at an emergency hearing for the sort of last step in the permitting process. So if anybody's looking for something to do at 10 o'clock in the morning, show up and support the Roundhouse rebuild. It's basically acknowledging that use has gone on for the last 40 years. So it is continuing that same use, nothing different other than, of course, the structure will be very, very different. And that's really about all I wanted to add to it, other than to say, again, thank you all for the support forthcoming. And one last announcement, and that is one of the supporters of the Sierra Institute contributed significant dollars to make things happen for us. Sandy Maillard, who used to live in the Greenville community, put up $100,000 for a challenge grant that the community met. She put up another $75,000. So we have a new challenge. So can we match the $75,000 that she put up? And this is a brand new match opportunity for us to continue doing some of the work that we're doing and to continue help rebuilding the town and surrounding area. So thank you very much, Sandy Maillard. We had hoped that she was going to be here today. She'll be here in the next few weeks or so. So that's all I have. Thank you all very much. And we look forward to seeing you all over there. There was, I think questions come later, but stay tuned. We're talking perhaps a groundbreaking as early as next week, but we don't. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. 24th of August at 10 a.m. in Quincy. Thank you, Tracy. So Tracy, 555. So for those folks online, 555 Main Street, Thursday, the 24th at 10 a.m. Zoning Administrator Office. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Peyton. So next up, we have PG&E, Natasha.
Yeah.
Right, that's okay.
Hi, everybody. Natasha Beener, Customer Outreach with PG&E. I brought my supervisor today. I'd like to just hand it over and have him introduce himself really quick, but this is Eddie Alvarado. He's new to the rebuild team. What, about 4 months now?
3 months.
Okay, but 15 years with PG&E. So I'll hand it over for a quick introduction really quick.
Thanks. Good morning, folks. Good morning. So I'm glad to be here. We just Natasha has been involved here with the community, as you know, for quite some time, and I've been eager to get out here as well and kind of get involved with some of the work that she does. I know we just can't thank you all enough for your patience, right? We understand that just the disruption alone with the amount and the sheer volume of work that takes place out here amongst everything that's transpired. We want to just thank you for your continued support and cooperation and patience. And yeah, we are the voice. We are here to represent the voice of the Greenville community. So please continue to leverage us. Pain points, what's working, what's not working. It is our team, and that we're here to help you and help through those pain points. So please do not hesitate to reach out. And if something's again not working, we are here to represent you and to work within our processes to bring solutions that work and that are meaningful to the community here. So thank you all.
Thank you. All right, today I'm going to be giving you a couple of updates. As you all know, our crews are out there. They're very active. As I've stated in previous meetings, there are several project managers associated to undergrounding our services across the region. And so there are multiple crews supporting them. And today I'm going to highlight the 4 main locations and the time frame for all of those locations that you should expect, especially around traffic control, which I've heard from all of you. You know, I came from Paradise and other areas that have experienced what you guys are experiencing. And traffic control followed by road damage is pretty frustrating for everybody involved. You guys are impacted in so many ways, and now to be impacted in this way. So thank you for your patience. Even though there have been phone calls regarding the frustrations, there's also been a lot of support. So thank you. Today we'll talk a little bit about what you'll experience going forward. And you all know I'm gonna get all nervous. Highway, but thanks for your support, guys. Highway 89. Okay. So we were working 24 hours. We do not have the intention of working 24 hours going forward, but that could change because we're trying to get out of that location because it's such an impact to so many. So right now you will see the 15-minute delay. Sometimes that can be extended if there's any kind of safety concern. So please be prepared for that. If there's a safety concern, that's what would happen in that circumstance. But we should be out of there at the end of September or beginning of October. That is our plan. And for those in Crescent Mills who are seeing the temporary generator, that will transition us from the temporary power to the permanent power at Canyon Dam. So that is why we're out there working those 24 hours trying to get that changeover. For the Greenville community, you probably saw us here at the school. And also I wanted to just kind of take a minute to talk about restoration experience. We're working directly with Ray Bacher, who is the maintenance director for Plymouth School. And he's working with us to get that grass repaired and any kind of sidewalk repairs done. We'll make sure that it's restored to the way that it's supposed to be. The school won't be impacted directly, but all of the areas surrounding us will have some impact. So you will see some traffic control and crews over the next 2 months. Sorry, it's a lot. Okay, Highway 70, we did have one project complete. We have another that has some dependencies clearing, and then a second project will be starting. The ideal scenario is that it starts before the winter comes, but the possibility is that winter could delay us, and we'll pick that back up in the spring. So you will see a lot of crews out there next year as well along Highway 70. And then Spanish Creek. So this one is the one that's by the Y and impacting people on 89 3 different times, 3 different stops. And I want to highlight the reason why we started that project so that Indian Falls community can have permanent power as quickly as possible too. So the reason we started that was to get that permanent power to that community, and we're trying to get it done as quickly as possible. We will be going into September and possibly into October, but there's a lot of things that really will take effect on that date and that project specifically. If you have any questions, I'll be here at the end of the meeting. Okay, so Highway 89, once that project is complete, the expectation is to go from the temporary power to the permanent power, and there will be a small power outage as an experience. The date is to be determined, the time frame is to be determined. There will be a press release explaining all of the details for you when everything is finalized. We don't want to put out information that could be changing. Sorry, is there something I can say to that?
Say what press?
Oh, the press release? We'll do a press. Oh, okay. Hi back there. She says she's here. So the press release that we will put out, we share with the Dixie Fire Collaborative, so you can also refer to it through the Facebook page. Okay, restoring your power. A lot of questions I've been getting is, hey, you guys are here, you're doing your main line, and I'm hoping that you guys will make sure to get my property while you're here. That's a common misunderstanding for folks. Your property is secondary power, and our mainline objectives is primary power. So folks think you're here, hook up my property, we're all happy, let's move on. And I get that. And I thought that at first too, only to learn that there's a whole experience to be expected. We have permitting requirements, we have inspection requirements, we have construction, we have design, etc. So there's a 90 to 120 day experience for your power to be restored, and you have to apply. So in order for your power to be restored on your property, the first step is to go to yourprojects-pge.com and complete an application. Another important aspect is to choose that you have been affected by a wildfire, because that will get it directly to our team without any delay. You all have an expedited experience, even though it does seem like a long one. It is significantly expedited, but that won't put any internal delays by choosing that option. So make sure to choose that and pass that along to your friends and family. Okay, so second to last thing, we do have a donation here today. That's what these boxes are, and I'll wrap up with that. But I just want to say thank you so much for welcoming me to your community. I've gotten an opportunity to step into a new role with PG&E, and that's why I have Eddie here, among other reasons, to just say thank you. You guys welcomed me and allowed me to help you, which I think says a lot. And you have taken me in so many ways. I've been offered new homes with my kids to move to your community because I've loved you all so much. So my last day in this position is August 25th, but we will have a new representative starting in October. And the message I want to emphasize today is the reason that you guys have welcomed me in is because you knew I cared about each of you. So at no point will I not be available to any of you. When we do have a new representative, it will be important for your experience to transition the best I can, but I'm always here for all of you. And I promise that. So never hesitate to reach out to me. And if you want to say hi, that'd be okay too. Okay, last one. I have a drone donation. Thank you. And then I'll get out of here. So a Rebuild Resources, if you have any questions, you can contact the 1-800 or the Rebuild PG&E email. And then lastly, we have just some drones we'd like to donate. So if I could have Taylor with Dixie Fire Collaborative, if Ryan's here with Plumas Charter, he was a maybe. Hey. And then Todd Johns with the Sheriff's Department. He was also not sure if he could be here. Okay. And then Miss Rodriguez with the school. Here she comes. Okay, so PG&E has retired drones here that we're donating to the Plumas community. These drones are used for inspecting lines, and we retire them about every 5 years, and we have an opportunity to gift our drones to these entities. And so today we have them here for you, Eddie, if you don't mind handing them out for me. They're Mavic 2s, so they're really awesome. We thought that the schools could use it for the STEM efforts and anything that the kids might want to learn about drones. Dixie Fire Collaborative, a lot of things, but imagery we thought would be a really great opportunity. And then for law enforcement safety. So we're excited to pass these forward to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Eddie. That was awesome. All right, so next up, we've got Kimi is going to give us an update on all the cleanup that's been going on around Greenville. And I think Kimi's going to be online.
Can you guys hear and see me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kimi Tucci, and I'm with the Department of Toxic Substances Control. We're also known as the DTSC. So we've been in Greenville since last August, working on lead contaminated properties in Greenville. As many of you may have known already, we started this work because during the ash and debris removal phase of work, lead contamination was found on a number of the properties, and DTSC was tasked with addressing that problem. Can I have you go to the third slide, please? Yeah, that one. Thank you. So this slide here shows you what our process has been. We start off with contacting the property owners, getting property access using access agreements. Then we would schedule the work and perform the work. And the work has mostly been excavation of soil and backfill of soil. And on some properties, it's just been sampling, and other properties, other properties have just been sampling and turning the property back over to the property owner. When we're done, we contact the property owner and we offer an optional site walk. And then we provide follow-up paperwork in the form of a letter of completion that allows the property owner to go to the county and say, okay, DTSC's work is done. Can I get my permits now? And then the last step is a completion report, which is all the documentation, which is offered to the property owners, but is not really very helpful in most cases because it's like a whole bunch of pages of backup information that most people don't care about. Can you go back to slide number 2? Thank you. So as I said, we've been here since last August was when we first started. We got a few properties done last year, but had to stop in the end of October due to snow. We started up again this year in July, and we are just, was it July? Maybe it was end of June, beginning of July. And we are just starting to come to the end of our field work. So we expect to be out of Greenville by the end of this month. And the remaining work that we have is the backfilling, compaction, erosion controls, and site walks that we plan to conduct. Taylor, if you wouldn't mind, can you click on that website link for me? So this is the DTSC website link, which we have shown you guys a number of times, that just kind of talks about our process and what we've been doing. And if you go down a little bit, Taylor, keep going, you'll see a little link to a map. Yep, right there. See the interactive map? Yep, click on that. So we started off with 142 properties that were identified during the debris removal work. Of those 142 properties, 109 property owners asked us to evaluate their properties. If you can zoom in just a little bit. Yep. And then top right, you can see a legend will drop down. So blue means that access was given, green means that work is in progress, and gray means work is complete. So those green ones are kind of a boo-boo. Those aren't supposed to be there. And most of the ones that are blue right now are actually going to be gray by the end of this week or end of next week. So can you come back out just a little bit farther? At the bottom right, you'll see a little negative arrow or a little negative symbol. Go ahead and click on the negative. Yep, there you go. So we're done in the downtown area for the most part, and we just have a little bit of work that we're doing off to the east in the Hot Springs area, a little bit to the northeast at the end of Maine. And if you go to the left, and a little bit of work over in the Kinder area. Again, ignore those green ones. So we are just about done right now. Our guys are doing punch list items and doing general cleanup and trying to get out of the way of all the other activities that are going on out there. You go back to the slides, please. And the last slide, please, or the next slide. Next one, sorry. Yeah. So this is our contact information. So for property owners that were part of the program, you can continue to contact us. We will be trying to get your letters of completion out to you as quickly as we can. We have to wait for analytical data and validation of the data before we send them out. So there'll be a little bit of a delay, but this is our contact information. The phone number there is the 403-9679 number. That's just a regular phone, but the toll-free number is toll-free. Next slide, please. And then this is our contact information. So I'm Kimi Touchi. That's my phone number and email address. For complicated questions, you can go ahead and contact me for more just status information. The best person to contact is Jessica Mendoza. Jessica is also on the call. Jessica, do you want to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Like Kimmy said, I am also available. This is my direct line. If you ever need anything, you can go ahead and contact me.
Okay, so as far as I know, this will be our last meeting that we will attend unless Sue Weber asks us to come back again. But we thank you so much for your cooperation and the kindness of the community while we've been in town. It's been a pleasure doing work for you guys all, and good luck with your rebuild. You guys are doing a great job. It's been exciting to watch as things have progressed forward, and we are happy to get out of your way so you can keep moving forward with all the other activities that are coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kimmy. Thank you, Jessica. Just the amount of dirt that they had to move to do this project was unbelievable. The number of trucks and stuff. All right, next up, we've got Joe and Jonathan who's give us an update on the forests.
Good morning, Joe Hoffman, Mount Huff District Ranger, Plumas National Forest. Let's go ahead and go to the slide, Taylor, please. Yeah, so I've discussed or brought to you a few times before the North Fork Forest Recovery Project. That dark green boundary is the project area. This is one that Sierra Institute is helping us with the planning on. They're basically carrying all the water on the NEPA planning process for Forest Service review. It'll eventually be a Forest Service decision. It's for forest recovery, restoration actions on, it's almost 167,000 acres. It's all Forest Service lands, no private lands, but all those forest lands there. And it's a planning project. So some of you are familiar with the term NEPA, National Environmental Policy Act. It's basically a regulatory compliance. So it's several parts. We're planning what are the activities that are appropriate there for forest recovery, and then also going through the environmental analysis and human analysis to show regulatory compliance for those activities. And so it's if you're familiar with the NEPA process, it takes a while. The phase that Sierra Institute is at, you probably, maybe some of you have been to the public meetings that were held in July. I think the first one was actually in late June. There were 3 public meetings. And yeah, so those, we got a lot of good input on activities, got a lot of concerns on herbicides. That was a prominent concern that was raised by folks. But yeah, so where we're at, and I'll just say the activities are basically forest recovery kind of stuff, fields reduction. There's green areas within that project area, as you know. So we want to do field reduction, particularly for community protection, the thinning work. And then also in the burned areas, one of the best field reduction or community protection treatments would be to reforest. So we got to get rid of the burned stuff and then do some replanting. That's where herbicide may be a tool that we use in order to keep the brush down for the plantings, but would all be analyzed in the EA, and we'll, so where we're at, and well, wait, before I get into that, not just the veg stuff, not just forest stuff. We're interested in any kind of community support type projects that the forest, that would be appropriate on the forest. Also, property line work, so if there's hazard trees on Forest Service land that borders private property, we'd like to know about that. Because this would be the place to analyze that and get it into a planning where we could start implementing. Other activities would be maybe some dozer line repair, because there are still dozer lines out there, some hazard trees along roads, all those activities. So economic community support type stuff like recreation improvements. We've reached out to the tribe. We had a nice meeting with them. To get tribal input on what would be helpful. They emphasized one of them was metal restoration. So we're considering some metal restoration treatments. So where the project is at this point is we've gathered a lot of input. The public meetings are completed. So now Sierra Institute is starting to come together with a description of the activities that we feel are best for this area. But that's gonna be put out as a proposed action, not a, this is what we're doing. It's the proposed activity. And this is a 30-day comment period to hear what folks feel, you know, what comments on the proposed action. What did we miss? What else should we be doing? Where else should we be doing it? So we're shooting for mid-September. Sierra Institute, we expect they'll have a draft for us to review the Forest Service in the next couple of weeks. Get the proposed action out. It's called a scoping notice. We have to follow these NEPA steps that are very legal. But it's called a scoping notice, but it's basically just an opportunity to comment for 30 days. So that's what's coming up. I'll just mention one other project is to the right of that map there is the tributaries project that it's similar with what Sierra Institute is doing. Plumas Corporation out of Quincy is doing the same thing for us with a NEPA planning effort for, again, it's almost coincidentally, almost the same amount of acres, about 160,000+ acres, but it is like in the old Walker Fire Scar, some of the Moonlight Fire Scar. It's the streams that are tributary, we call it the Tributaries Project, tributary to Indian Creek. So including Little Grizzly Creek and Genesee Valley. Let's see, Red Clover Creek, Last Chance Creek, all that kind of upper headwater ground. So that's a similar project, but there's not as much community type activities there because it's kind of out in the back 40 that away, I think. So that's the update for this. So they are at a similar phase where there'll be a scoping notice coming out with a 30-day comment period. So watch for this one. There'll be a press release. It should be ample opportunity to know that that period has started. You can hit the link and you'll see the maps and the description of the activities. And same thing for tributaries, that should be coming up. And if you have any questions in the meantime, you can reach out to me, or should it be Bella, Jonathan? Yeah, go straight to Bella Bledsoe at Sierra Institute. And I think that's all I got.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, next up, Sue is going to be talking to us about taxes.
And a couple other things. So I've been working really hard with John Vale in Washington, DC regarding the HR 4970 bill, which is the tax bill that Doug LaMaffa started in 2022 to allow our settlements not to be taxed as income. In 2022, it was written in a way similar to the way the state bill was written, where they actually defined very specific fires. Obviously, at that time, the Dixie Fire was not included. They went back and amended it. The state is in the process of doing the same thing, just to encompass disaster areas, not specifically named. So in 2022, the bill was dropped in December. In January of 2023, it was reintroduced. They found another glitch that impacted the tax code, which was the taxing of not just your settlement, but that the money that got paid out to your attorney. So taxing that money also. They realized that that was going to be an incredible nightmare for the IRS specifically. So they went back and they actually took the attorney piece out. So now will be just the entire settlement would be exempt from taxes without the separation. That required them to go back and actually write a new tax law or change some of the tax laws. So it got dropped again. And now it came back, it was re-entered in July 27th of this year. Up until then, it was a standalone bill. I'm going to say something that is a political, let's just flip the switch. I'm here to just give you information. So I want to be really clear about that. So what happened was the current administration has put together a package, a disaster relief package, for $40 billion. It includes 4 things now. It includes HR 4970. It includes $12 billion for FEMA. It includes $25 billion for Ukraine. And can't remember, and 4 billion for the southern border. So obviously we now know this becomes a political nightmare. So the hope is it goes to the vote on September. And so there's an obviousness that one side. So this has been supported, 11 co-sponsors of this, 3 Republicans, Doug LaMaffa being the 4th who wrote the bill, 3 Republicans, Kevin Kiley, Tom McClintock, and Dan Newhouse are signed on as co-sponsors. The rest are Democrat representatives. I am going to have handouts in the back. The actual bill for 4970 is here, so you can read it. And then I went and put together a list of all the other Republican representatives that 2 of them are on the actual Ways and Means Committee where this bill will end up. Anyone who's interested in contacting, writing letters, etc., I would highly encourage that, and all the information is here. The hope is, if for any reason having conversations in DC, if it doesn't get passed, there is a movement of pushing and negotiating of pulling the FEMA, it'll be easier to say this, of pulling the Ukraine piece out and making the disaster relief package specific to the southern border, this bill, and FEMA. So there is conversations on that. Who knows where it all lands. There is a commitment, though, if it does not get passed, this 4970 will be pulled out and trying to be put back in. For what I see of that, that means we're looking at a longer period of time. Right now, anyone who receives settlements this year, you're not going to be reporting them till next year. So hopefully, if they have to do that, we have that time frame. Those who reported it, those who received settlements in 2022 that have to claim in 2023. If you read the bill, there is a portion in there that you would be there would be some kind of reimbursement if the bill eventually gets passed. So that's pretty much the update on that. Someone had mentioned this. I want to be clear as we begin to move forward. And the emphasis now, we're almost at a crossroad with the DFC where there was a lot of behind the scene work that had to be done and connections and all of that. We're now really at a place where we're starting to move into really solid rebuilds and technical work that is definitely out of my area of expertise. So the Dixie Fire Collaborative has agreed in partnership for funding with North Valley Community Foundation to hire a coordinator for the Dixie Fire Collaborative to continue the work that we've been doing. I am going to step down. I'm going to stay. My role will be to write grants. We've been doing that and we have to do it more. We can have all the ideas we want. If we don't have the money, it doesn't matter. So we got to keep going after the money, mostly at the state and federal level. And anyone who has experience, those grants are brutal. So working with in partnership with the county grant writer, Zach back there, he's been awesome. Myself and the CSD, pretty much that's where the money will all come in and then be distributed out for builds. We've flown the position. We received 11 applications. 3 were local. 1 was from Susanville and the rest were from out of the area and out of the state. We are really committed in trying to find someone local. So those interviews will take place next week. Our hope is that we will have a good candidate for that. If not, we will go back to the table. Before we interview for outside or even make a decision of an outside person, we actually will come back to the community. for feedback. Do we refly the position? And see where we land, but if for any reason, I don't think we'll have to, but if for any reason we have to go outside, we will definitely get input from the community in a really big way, because I think that really matters. The other thing that is in discussion with the DFC, along with North Valley Community Foundation, is potentially temporarily hiring a position that would go, they would be under the North Valley Community Foundation, not the county, but a position that will go into the planning and building department to be able to go through all the weeds that feel like take forever. You're permitting, are you missing something? And that person will be solely there for the 4 burn scarred area builds. So we're in the process of having lots of conversations with the planning department and the building department, and we're hoping to have that in the next month or 2 in place. And the last, which is always the good stuff, so the post office is looking like it will be done in November. And by end of November, hopefully that's where the mail will be coming. So I think that's all I have. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Sue, for your leadership. We really appreciate it. Okay, next up, we have Tracy from the planning department. You updates on how you can build your homes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Ferguson. I'm the Plymouth County Planning Director. I'm here to talk about what we call Title 25, which is the limited density owner built rural dwellings. Next slide. So where does Title 25 come from? It comes from California Code of Regulations. So there are rules at the state level in which Title 25 needs to duplicate at the local level. And then we can provide additional flexibility at the local level as well. And we do have discretion, but basic public health and safety is what we're looking at. And this is specific to the construction and the building code. So typical construction subject to California Title 24 building code, this Title 25 relaxes the requirements of Title 24 at its very basic. So we heard from the public a strong desire specific to wildfire recovery rebuilds to have a Title 25 ordinance. Many other communities that have base wildfire recovery, rural areas, Butte County, Trinity County, Shasta, Amador, Siskiyou, and Mono, they have current Title 25 ordinances, and so we use those as examples. So under the desire from the public and the direction of the Board of Supervisors, county staff has developed a Title 25 ordinance. Next slide. Here's some images from Butte County. So Butte being one of the counties, it was 2008 that Butte County did the Title 25 ordinance. So I'm forgetting exactly that wildfire, but it was some time ago. And here's some examples, some imagery of what Title 25 dwellings look like. Again, lesser than a Title 24 standard, but look like homes nonetheless, right? Next slide. Okay, where would Title 25 sit in our ordinance or code? It's under Title 8, which is the building regulations. So I stand here today as the planning director. I have Title 9, planning and zoning. Chuck White, the building services director, governs Title 8 building regulations. So you'll see Chuck White before the Board of Supervisors with this action, and I'm here to support as planning, but this does sit in building regulations. So what we decided, because we heard that the public wanted a ordinance that would be available to parcels in downtown Greenville, right here, you know, just blocks away. And so what we decided as a county, we heard that as a great need, because typically minimum parcel size is 1 acre for Title 25 ordinance. Again, this is called limited density owner built rural dwelling. So rural in rural areas means over an acre. And even 1 acre, some communities had 2.5 was the minimum, you know. So what we decided, because there are parcels here in Greenville that are less than 1 acre and they would not otherwise be eligible for Title 25, we wanted to create a second parallel ordinance specific to the affected areas of both the Dixie Fire and the Beckworth Fire. So that's what we've done, and we're gonna sunset it because we know, I'm not standing on the X, actually, I know you got me. Okay, and so we know, there's gonna be some time, so it needs to sunset because the unincorporated county area versus the fire affected areas, unincorporated county, that's gonna be in perpetuity, that's minimum 1 acre. That's gonna, as amended, can go on. But we do need to sunset for the fire affected areas, which ordinances again typically do in other counties. 5 years is what we thought was fair. And so, give us some feedback on that. And certainly can be amended as a more temporary ordinance, but in effect as proposed until December 31st of 2028 with no minimum parcel size. Okay. So we're going to talk about really the fire affected areas. So again, they mimic each other, but there's a couple differences for fire affected areas. Okay. Applies to dwelling units and accessory structures. Okay, so what you're looking at there, typical dwelling units, Title 25 and garages is the most common accessory structure, both primary and secondary units. So, we know we have folks that want this for permanent housing, their primary dwelling, and then others that have seasonal second homes, whatnot. So both are covered under Title 25 and eligible. You can build it yourself as the owner. You can get a contractor. So even though it's called owner built in the title, it doesn't preclude you from getting a contractor. It supports affordability, innovation, and creativity. Again, flexibility from the Title 24 code, alternative construction design, materials, and methods at the discretion of the building services director in many degrees. So this is, do you want to mill your own lumber? Maybe you need a percent. This is getting into the title, like a percent, not saturation, but what I'm saying, right? You got to grade the wood. So wood needs to be graded, but otherwise maybe you can mill your own wood and, the building services director can help you with that. So also under, the methods and materials, we can look at alternatives. Next slide. All right, other advantages here. So our baseline is the 2007 Title 24 code. So we go back to 07 when you didn't have to have solar and you didn't have to have sprinklers and you didn't have to have things like, that you do today. So our baseline is 07 Title 24 mechanical plumbing and egress. You don't have to have electricity, but if you do, you actually have to adhere to the 2019 code, no solar, no sprinklers so there is an if with no sprinklers because again, basic public health and safety, 2,000 square feet or less, it needs to be single story, there's specific design egress and a 30-foot height limit. Okay, so no sprinklers, we definitely heard that was a concern in rebuilding. And so, but you have to do it to a certain standard for health and safety. You will need to meet current wildfire building standards, Chapter 7A. People are familiar with other structural standards, again, health and safety, seismic, wind, and snow. And then your water source and sanitation needing to have one, either the district, in town or the county environmental health has discretion on an approved water and sanitary sewer source. So good advantages there. Next slide. There are some limitations. So do want to also educate on pros and cons of Title 25, some of the limitations, they may not be limitations for you, but to give you this information. So owner must live in the dwelling for 3 years before selling or renting. So this is a commitment that you're rebuilding, whether for your permanent residence, your seasonal residence, your second home, but that you need to, own that residence for at least 3 years before selling or renting to someone else. On the insurance, may or may not, different providers look at a Title 25 home less than Title 24 standard. And so, be cautious when insuring these properties and understanding if a certain companies would or would not insure a Title 25 home. On construction financing, same thing. Lenders may not like Title 25 because it's not up to Title 24 full building code standards. Disclosures are recorded on title as to the Title 25 construction. So you own it, you build it as Title 25, and then it's on title in perpetuity so that any future owner knows, again, not built to Title 24. No additions in square footage. You build what you build and that's what you get. No additions with Title 25. And you still have to pay the permits, fees, and inspections are required. All right. So schedule wise, so by the end of this month, as staff, we'll have the draft ordinance finalized. We'll put the 10-day public hearing notice out on September 1st. We're going to the board on September 12th for the first reading. Ordinances go twice to the board. We waive the first reading of the ordinance. You can provide public comment though, so please come to the Board of Supervisors on September 12th at 10 a.m. in the Quincy Courthouse, 3rd floor. If you'd like to comment on Title 25, that's the first reading. And then on September 19th, the following Tuesday, that will be the adoption hearing for the ordinance. And then ordinances go into effect 30 days thereafter. So as of October 19th, then the ordinance would be in effect and that building permits could be submitted at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm not sure if Cassie or
Oh.
Kira are here.
And in the back, I do have the handout, so not only, yeah, and actually real quick.
So in the back, I do have the slide handouts. And then as well, I went to the Board of Supervisors on August 15th. And so there's a memorandum by the Board of Supervisors. I do want to recognize Warner Valley. Friends of Warner Valley certainly helped with this process behind the scenes. And all those asks of Friends of Warner Valley are in the ordinance. So again, the county is listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Is Cassie or Kira in the house? Otherwise we'll skip on. No, okay. Let's go on to the MLMP internship. Do you have some interns who are going to give us a little presentation?
Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm Ben. I'll kind of start us off here. We're the LMNOP internship team. 8 of the 10 of us, plus one of our junior interns representing us here. We're double interns. If you want to skip to the next slide, Taylor. So I'll give a quick breakdown. We'll sort of go over the interns, introduce ourselves, and then focus sort of on our interaction with the community, what we've done these past 10 weeks or so, and then sort of move into the process and product. The goal there is we'll focus more on the process and sort of indicating what we've heard and how we've experienced the community. And your goal or our goal is then to see the product a little bit more in detail. Hopefully you guys have seen some this week. If not, the exhibition will be open for the foreseeable future. And then we'll be at the spot after this for a couple hours as well. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, so again, I'm Ben Hoffman. I just graduated from Cal Poly with a degree or my bachelor's in architecture. I grew up in Quincy. My dad's the district ranger. So big day for public speaking for the Hoffmans. I'll pass it down to James.
Hi, my name is James Nielsen. I'm going into my 3rd year at Claremont McKenna College, studying environmental analysis with a leadership sequence. I'm hoping to work in the field of renewable energy, and I've been working on infrastructure master planning up here, which I'll get into a bit later, and I'm one of the interns.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm studying architecture at California College of the Arts. I grew up down in SoCal, but I fell in love with Greenville. I don't rarely see all this stuff, so.
Hello, everyone. I'm Susan. I'm also one of the interns. I just graduated with my bachelor's of architecture from California College of the Arts. And I've been working with like Greenville related projects for almost a year now.
Ben Grizzly, also a student at California College of the Arts in San Francisco, 1 year left.
Hi, my name is Lucy Joseph and I live here in Greenville and I'm one of the junior interns this summer for LMNOP.
Hello, my name is Willog Mercino. I'm from Portland, Oregon, but I'm entering my 5th year of architecture at the University of Oregon.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vicky, and I am one of the 10 interns at LMNOP.
I am a student at California College of the Arts, and I'm also on my 5th year studying architecture.
Hello, everyone. My name is Arturo Gomez, and I'm also a CCA student going into my 5th year to receive my BArch as well. Next slide, please.
All right, so I'm starting off where we are staying. So for the past 10 weeks, we've been staying at Copper Creek Camp with Taylor and Sutter. We're truly grateful for having the opportunity and having the privilege to stay with them. They've given us everything. So giving us home at Greenville. So we're really grateful.
So I think we'll go over some goals here. Our biggest goal was taking the feedback that we've garnered over the past year plus, almost 2 years at the start of the internship, and then continue to build off of that and solicit feedback from you all, and then sort of integrate that and synthesize that into our sort of subsequent products. Some of those products are a digital model of downtown. We've modeled 49 buildings of the downtown area, an affordable housing database for Canyon Dam. Canyon Dam is a really integral part of this process too. So it's really great to see a couple community members on the Zoom there. We've also worked on the town center plan for Greenville, working with the folks who will sort of take off the work after us, Sarah Architects, as well as getting a lot of feedback from the community and some other teams here who've been represented this week. We've also worked on guidebooks and guide boards. Those can be seen at the spot or at the exhibition. Those are in progress. They'll be handed off to Sarah at the end here. But that really is taking the work that we've done, engaging with the community, and then really trying to simplify that and put it into images and a couple singular documents. And finally, that exhibition, which Carlos and Ben here have worked tirelessly on in San Francisco, working back and forth with us. It's really beautiful. So I really hope everybody gets some time to check it out. It's been a culmination of a lot of work from a lot of students and a lot of community members and the intern team as well. And then at the end of this, we'll hand off that work to Sarah, and they'll continue to sort of make that, sort of finalize that document. Next slide, Jerry. And then, yeah, so the timeline, essentially we're at big workshop week. This is our last day, so it's a little sad, but we've had a lot of time to engage with the community through a lot of different instances. Our first DFC meeting in June, Gold Diggers Day was a big moment for us. And then after Gold Diggers Day, we essentially did like a month of office hours sort of deal community feedback with different groups in the community. And I think we'll explain that a little bit more. Next.
All right, so just to give a numbers of overview, we have built over 49 buildings. We have had over 16 meetings with community engagement. We have all collectively gathered about 2,547 mosquito bites. And on top of that, we have worked around 4,300 hours collectively. Next slide, please. We want to give a big shout out to JNC Enterprise for hosting us as an office space. For the past 10 weeks, we have been working at the office and having a lot of fun with the dogs and with the cats. And that has been kind of the place that we've been located. So we just wanted to give a little insight of what that looked like and felt like. So there's that. Next slide, please. While we were here, we had the privilege to witness a lot of beautiful community moments. And that along with the 4th of July, the opening of the thrift store, and also just having like casual dinners and gatherings that, you know, made this journey very meaningful. And then also we had a very important 3-day workshop for KipMop, and that actually happened the first week that we were here. We worked with ABA and hosted a workshop where the youth were kind of the lead and kind of suggesting and bringing in ideas of what the future could hold. but also creating a memorial map that kind of highlights their memories and their experience at Greenville. So having that youth input, it was very important for us at the beginning, that defined the moving forward of our presence at Greenville. The outcome was a memory circle as a memorial that highlights 6 particular elements of the community that the youth identified. That includes youth, ranching, logging, Maidu, natural beauty, and community. The idea is to have something very similar to this, if not this, at the community park down in Greenville in the future, that will highlight this beautiful design that was done by the youth from here. Next slide.
Yeah, so community engagement has kind of been our main driving force for all of our work that we've done over this internship. For some of the community members that have been here for multiple events, they probably were able to witness an evolution of our work, hearing community feedback, and then taking that into account and really trying to push that forwards in our work to kind of align with the community. So what you're seeing now are some vibes that we put together. What these vibes are basically kind of outlines of visions for Greenville. We really just wanted to push out a bunch of different ideas and see what people liked. So this work was shown at Gold Diggers Day, about halfway through our internship process. And through this feedback that we got on these boards, we're able to really push forwards on our final presentation, which will be at the spot today in the exhibition. Moving on, we had a couple of our interns go to a Rotary meeting to meet with the Rotary group, showing site plans, our work from Gold Diggers Day again, and getting another round of feedback from a different group of community members. We also had a couple interns go to the community supper in Taylorsville. And again, you can see on the board, we were just getting a bunch of sticky notes, a bunch of just casual comments on what people saw that were really important in guiding our work. Next slide. Here we had some site visits. The first 2 photos on the left are from Canyon Dam, working with Canyon Dam folks. And then just recently, a couple of days ago, we were working with Sarah Architects, who have offices in Oakland and Portland. We are showing them Wolf Creek and also the sheriff's station that's right there. Just giving them context of Greenville and showing them around town. Just recently, this past Thursday, we were at the Next Gen Ranchers Barbecue at Riley's Jerky. This was really important for us to show our current work that will be at the spot, and also engaging with ranching families, which is a big goal of ours, to incorporate the future of Greenville into our projects going forward. Then just yesterday, we had a meeting with the county. We had a bunch of town planning professionals and National Park Service and Sarah Architects taking our final work and kind of working out some of the logistics behind it, making it more of a reality.
So now I'll go into a bit of our documentation and research. So as I mentioned earlier, I've been working within infrastructure master planning. Obviously, without infrastructure, there is no town. So this is a critical aspect of the rebuild. In the last 18 days, I've been able to compile over 50 pages of content regarding infrastructure. You can see it here on the left. Some of these documents have become quite lengthy, but I have an outline view, so don't worry, you can get through pretty easily. So I'd say the key things I've done is my 2 key meetings were with Dan Kearns, who's the operator of the Five Bears Dam out in Genesee. This is an underutilized resource it's been a little bit hard to get it turned on because of regulations. They haven't been able to operate the dam. So I spoke with him and got notes on why, and it's all outlined in the document, sort of some things where it might destabilize the grid if it was turned on at the wrong time, things like that. I also dove into the Sierra Institute's 40-page report on how to improve the economics of forest restoration and biomass utilization. This was very insightful, and obviously the economics of this is crucial, making this feasible, sustainable in the long term. They offered tremendous recommendations, which are outlined in this document. One of the key ones is payments for ecosystem services. The services that forests provide must be monetized in order to improve the overall economic scope and profit maximization. And the third piece of work I did was synthesize University of Pennsylvania videos on biomass. Professor Nicholas Pevsner Studio, fire studio class, researched this area extensively and created phenomenal design work regarding a biomass campus that would have a biomass boiler generating energy, burning woody biomass and other forest material, also having mixed use spaces there, and also employees who could teach people about different densities of forests and how to manage this more effectively. So overall, just a brief plan for the future. The plan is to develop a small microgrid within Greenville, somewhere between 200 and 732 kilowatts. To give you a contrast, your average home uses 1.2 kilowatts at any given moment. This microgrid would feature biomass boilers. That permitting takes a little bit longer than, for example, solar. So solar will also be utilized potentially on roofs or in a centralized location. Hydroelectricity should also be tapped in, given the adequate elevation changes in this area. And finally, energy storage, such as iron flow batteries, pumped hydropower, or other solutions such as thermal storage. They're all outlined in these documents. The handoff document for whoever needs access, LMNOP Design can give access. That document has context for all of my work, as well as links to all of these sub-documents. My contact information is on the top. I will be busy in school, but I hope to see this project all the way through, as I'm deeply invested in the energy infrastructure. And we also did some documentation for the Wolf Creek corridor. Two of our interns met with experts who have decades of data on this. This is going to be to not only restore this environment and increase biodiversity and restore the wildlife in the area, but also potentially to put in a pedestrian walking trail to prioritize pedestrian walkability within the region, which has been a central goal of Greenville residents longstanding.
Yeah. So earlier you probably saw that we modeled 49 buildings. And this is kind of a scrolling view of that main document, the buildings placed where they were pre-fire. I was kind of handling the modeling along with Arturo, and we kind of see this as a nice archive of what was here pre-fire. All these buildings are accurate to scale. They have the windows, they have the doors. And through this model, you can kind of place yourself in old Greenville, which is pretty powerful to see. And also, here's kind of those views I was talking about, placing yourself within the model. We have a physical model of this at Brett Cook's office across from the spot where it was shown at a very large scale. You can see the four corners are set up now. Not all 49 buildings are constructed, but if you go to the office, you can kind of get a view and a sense of what the modeling project became, and hopefully expand into the future as we model more buildings.
Okay, so we've ultimately been working towards the guidebook and guide boards, which are, as mentioned, will be in the exhibit and at the spot today by the greenhouse. And so here is a summary of community voices. We started off reading phase 0 and phase 1A reports. So we pulled out your feedback, and this is it summarized. Next slide, please. And so ultimately, through continued community conversation, we've identified foundations and elements which have evolved through continued conversation and they're listed off to the right side, but ultimately we're looking for a healthy community, healthy environment, healthy economy. Next slide, please. And here's that developed site plan with some of the projects that are underway. The Rancheria, the Roundhouse is coming back. The park that was mentioned is a bright green box there. And we're really looking to evolve the downtown center. And we really encourage you to drop by and take a look and provide your feedback or thoughts. And these are landowner strategies. So these are some recommendations that we have for current landowners or future landowners. And we explore things like color materiality, street front or facade systems, playing around with setbacks and what that can create for the community. Next slide, please. And we also have public strategies. So what we can create along the four corners of the main streets of the downtown corridors. And we also have some renders. And so these are kind of some visioning that help give a sense or feel of what downtown could potentially look like. And yeah, please drop by and see our work. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lucy Joseph, and I'm here today to talk about what we did this summer. I live here in Greenville, and I'm going to start my 9th grade year at Indian Valley Academy in Taylorsville. At the start of the summer, myself and 2 other freshmen, Olivia Schmel and Zoe Heiken, were given the opportunity to be summer youth interns for LMNOP Designs. Tyler Pugh approached us about this opportunity, and the 3 of us apprehensively accepted. Let me remind you, youth interns. So we envisioned the summer a little bit differently, but quickly we became part of a very important team that valued our ideas and really respected what we had to bring to the table and welcomed us. Next slide. So the importance of youth, not only was it important for us to be there and be a part of the conversation, but it was also a great learning experience and opportunity for us to be in a professional setting and work with these interns and professional groups and just understand what it means to be a part of a team and work collectively together. Slide. Completed projects. So we worked with these interns on more of the artistic expressional things. We did spreadsheets, we did mood boards, collages, we did lots of artistic creative things to try to kind of capture what each of the vibes they were talking about for Greenville and both Canyon. Next slide. Mural projects. So we spent a lot of time on mural. Like they mentioned, community engagement feedback. So after every community engagement event, we would take all the Post-it notes that were taken from community members, and we would enter them into a mural under the different vibes. And then you'll see in the top right corner that those were some of the collages and different mood boards that we worked on. Kid Mob. So the Kid Mob workshop was another outlet for the youth and teens of our community to be able to create art and just show ideas of what they thought Greenville meant to them. So the end result was the 6-pillar memorial that the other interns showed. And so, yeah, this was just another, after the workshop, the double interns, we kind of analyzed it and showed the community in the form of a poster board of what they kind of did and what they were working towards during the workshop. Spreadsheets. So we did a lot of spreadsheets during the internship, and it was a very, very valuable learning experience, because not only did we use it during the summer, but it's also something that we can use in our high school career and hopefully in college. Gateway sketches. So this is more of the artistic expressional things that we worked on. You can see that 2 of them are more sculptural signs and gateways, and then 2 are more of the traditional signage that you might see in like more of a traditional look, but all of them are. Yeah, so 2 of them are more expressional and sculptural, but it's the purpose was to kind of catch your eye and draw you into what Greenville has. Historic Greenville sketches. So we another valuable learning experience is in order to be hopeful and look to the future of what Greenville is going to be, we also needed to look into the past of what Greenville was. So looking back at what Greenville was kind of helped us look at different details and different aspects of the town that we want to include in the rebuild, but also things that maybe we don't want to. These are the collage boards. So this was definitely more of an arts and crafts thing that we did. We looked at the vibes and that these interns kind of created for Canyon Dam and Greenville, and we looked at more of like the physical aspect of what they could be. And so we spent the day kind of just really envisioning and capturing the details of what the town might look like. So yeah, is there any questions about what?
Yeah, I just wanted to also thank Tyler and Ross for such an amazing experience, and of course the community. It's been an incredible 10 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, all the interns and the rest of the team. Okay, now is the chance for anyone to come up. If you have some little news that you want to share about what's going on, anything else? Anyone? Oh, here we go. Sherry.
Thank you. I was going to cry before I might do it again. Natasha Beener has been wonderful for our community. And yeah, please. Since I first met her, she's positive, she's got great energy, she has such a place in her heart for Greenville. She's just really done wonderful things for our community. So a lot of work behind the scenes that people don't know about, a lot of work that you can see that Natasha has done. Kest was saying that people would make a comment to him. He'd go right to the phone, right to Natasha. And he said she just picked up and ran with it and took care of it. So she has just done marvelous things for us. And we were remembering back to the first meeting where she came up, she was so nervous and she was afraid people were going to be mean to her because of the fire and everything. But PG&E picked the right person to come to our community, and you just are positive and you've done wonderful things for us. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Joan Carter. I'm from North Valley Catholic Social Services, and I just want to give you a little update on what we're doing. We just got a 6-month extension. We were up for review by FEMA, so was Plumas Rural Services, and they saw the need, and we fought mightily to stay with you. And we did get a 6-month extension, so we'll be here until February to be able to help everybody. We're going to start having office hours at the bank and also at the grocery store to help you. We have the CBD grant coming up. It doesn't come till the summer, so it may come after we're gone, but we want to make sure that all of the people in town, in our whole community and Canyon Dam and everywhere have an opportunity to get the information. It's pretty complicated and you're going to need a lot of documents, but that's what we're here for. We're going to have a checkoff list. We're going to help people get through that process if you choose to go forward with that. because it's available and it may be our last ditch effort. We don't know, but we're happy to have the opportunity and we want to make sure that we make all the deadlines and we make sure that everybody has the opportunity to make a choice. And finally, I hope to see all of you. Our community picnic is tomorrow. And Rotary is going to be doing the food for Portola Rotary is going to be doing the food for the picnic. And next month we'll be doing it. So we'll hope to see everybody next month and we'll be behind the barbecue. So come by and stay hi.
Hey, thanks. Thank you, Joan, for sharing everything that the disaster case managers are doing. We have the two organizations, Plymouth Rural Services, who I represent, and Joan represents North Valley Community Social Services, Catholic Social Services. So we're really happy to be here and we're glad to help you. I definitely just wanted to let everybody know too, besides helping out with the CBDGDR grant paperwork, I have to say that what it means in my head to be a community development block grant for disasters. So they had a couple meetings here, and if you have no idea what it is or never heard of it, come see me, come see Joan, come see Tyler. We're all working on it. I'm helping Tyler collect the data for the grant right now. So we have the answers for you. It's basically to help rebuild. If you have a gap about with money, finances, with rebuilding, and if you're a low to moderate income person, there is a grant coming into the county that can help you build a house. And we can tell you more about it because there are kind of like stipulations. But we'll talk about it. I also wanted to just piggyback on Mr. Natasha. The Power Pedestal program. Your DCM can help you with that application process. We have lots of experience now navigating the online application and also the permitting application. And we also have grant funding. If you are in a gap to be able to afford the cost of the permit, come see us. We have gap funding for that as well. And then, if you guys need anything, I'm here, I'm at the back. We've got lots of stuff and you can call us anytime. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jack Steyer. Been here for a little bit. I'd like to give a shout out to the LMNOP gang, the young folks that have spent a lot of time up here falling in love with burnt trees. I haven't figured that one out yet, but cool. I'm old school, and you can see my gray hair and notebook and pencil, but that's all right. It was truly inspirational to have Lucy and Olivia, ninth graders, to get up here and talk about what they are doing to resurrect this community, bring people together to rebuild. It was awesome. It was a demonstration to me, and it should be to y'all as well, of the input and impact that individuals who are not financially impacted, to reuse an old used word, that is, they had no personal financial loss that those citizens have, that are not here because they're out of money. My hope is that others, that without having lost anything, can see that they too can contribute. These two individuals, Lucy and Avila, their families have been here at least 71.5 years. That's, when I started here, and their families were here before I was. So, and they have an interest in their gut, in their heart, in their whatever, to keep it going. And I don't no need to show your hands, but I don't know if there are a whole lot of folks here that haven't lost anything. Those that haven't lost anything in my mind, what I see unless they're presenting, are woefully absent. So thank you, LMNOP. Thank you, Tyler, for shouldering this. Well done.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, let's move to Q&A. So let's immediately after this, by the way, we're going to have the food over in the greenhouse. So let's see if we've got any questions, and if we do, then we'll have the presenters come out to answer those questions, but we'll just see, show of hands, who has a question for one of the presenters. We have some questions. Okay, so let's get the presenters up, and then we'll answer these questions. So please put your hand up if you have a question. All right.
So I have a good question and a comment, I guess. I guess I'll go first with, I feel penalized for having been raised in a two-story house. Because we are not included in the Prop 25, so because we were raised in a Title 25, so we're being penalized. Okay, I'll just put it out there. And so that's most unfortunate. But I guess I have to go to a meeting and maybe voice, but that's not comfortable at all. Yeah, why?
Would you like me to address it? Okay.
Yes.
So specific to the sprinkler exemption, you have to have a single story to have the sprinkler exemption due to health and safety. So I do welcome your comment. And if you would like to talk to Chuck White, Building Services Director, that's where your comment should be directed.
Okay. The other two is, as far as we don't have a communications representative, and I pound this regularly. Facebook is not communication. It seems like that in press, there was a representative press here or something, and we know we have a gap there. But we need to get out. Somebody say, it's posted on Facebook. That's not the answer. We need more robust, get the web page work, more things on web page, more push communications. So I'm always pushing communication here. So please, you're doing good. We can do better. And last minute notification, last minute agendas the night before is, we'd appreciate earlier. So I know I'm griping, right? Okay.
Just one comment on that. If I know Plymouth News has gone down, but now we have a new website, Plymouth Sun. It's very similar, but even better. So hands up.
Natasha, thank you so much for all your efforts here in our community, and we solely appreciate that. My question to you is, are there any plans to repave from the county barns out to the Wolf Creek Bridge after it's been dug up pretty heavily, and what are the plans there?
Okay, thank you. Common question. How will road pavement be restored after we underground? So it's important for us to repave back to safety measures. So we will put the roads back to code once our efforts are completed, but keeping in mind that there are other entities that may need to access that road. So final restoration usually lies with the county or whoever might be managing that. Caltrans is another one that might be managing the road restoration. And so they work directly with PG&E on what that might cost. And then after all entities that they're organizing have completed what they need to for recovery, they will come back and do a full road restoration.
This is for the Forest Service. I lost about close to 50 evergreens on my property. Is there any way that the Forest Service will donate any seedlings for replanting?
It's complicated using federal tax resources to support private property. There are programs, though. I think the RCD had one running for helping private folks, and that was primarily funded, I think, by state monies. Yeah, still do that one, still running, okay. You want-
We have a couple of questions.
Let me respond to that. The Feather River RCD Resource Conservation District has money. There was actually a van load, a couple of loads of seedlings were sitting out at our Crescent Mill site. So if I can get your name, I can get it to them. We have somebody at the Sarah Institute working on the EFFORT program, which is about replanting and focused on private land.
Thank you, Jonathan. So we have a couple of questions online and then we'll come back to the back.
Yeah. What is the timeline before we start to see a building that the students start to break ground?
What with regard to buildings that will be used at a community level, not individual. You're looking anywhere between, so an example with the Community Resilience Center grant that we're going after. It's you have to go after the project developmental grant first. That's about, if you have 2 years, we're looking 14 to 18 months to have that work completed. Then we would apply for the implementation, which gives us funds to actually do the hardcore structure. So for a Community Resilience Center, you're looking at 5 years for the actual completion and build of that building. The other project we're looking at is working with the National Park Service and creating a park area on 89. That, again, you're looking 4 to 5 years till these projects come to full completion. Money has to be layered in for every step of the process. And it's usually planning, project development, and implementation. Hopefully that answered their question.
I had a question for the trees. I've been watching them completely clear all the dead trees off to the right at the top of the mountain. But there's been no mention of replanting. Am I going to enjoy watching them grow up now, or is it going to be at the top of the mountain for how long?
Unfortunately, so far, that's not Forest Service land that we've cleared because. Yeah, lots of reasons, but yeah, that planning project is in the works and we want to focus on the community areas first for when we are taking down the burned trees on Forest Service land, and then reforestation would follow quickly. I don't know, is that SPI land here probably maybe, or I don't know who's cleared. Okay, a lot of effort. Yeah, and so then that reforestation is part of that. I don't know the timeline though, because that's the RCD project.
Okay, great. Well, I think it'll be one more question over here and another one here. So we've got 2 more questions and then we can wrap for lunch, but.
Yeah, we're about halfway through, maybe less than that, of our building our house. We're like, okay, sprinklers, we don't really want them. Should we just hold off, tell the crews to just go someplace else until September 19th to find out, hey, we don't need this? I understand we're on a holding line, so can you give me a little bit there?
Yeah, so the day the ordinance goes into effect, the day in which you could submit building permits, or if you have a building permit already submitted, if you needed to modify that Title 24 permit to then conform to Title 25. And maybe if that's where you're going, the building services director would work with you if you have a permit in process, or that the day the ordinance goes into effect, you could submit and get into the planning building review process. I will say that urgency ordinances per code go into effect immediately. And so for the county to look at potentially, instead of waiting 30 days for codification, September, 19th would be the day in which the ordinance would go into effect. So I will look at that option and talk to county council. So the best we could do, the fastest track for Title 25 would be adoption September 19th, and then go into effect that day, building permits that day.
I just want to throw something out. Just an update with the process and the progress that's happening at Roundhouse. Greenville Rancheria is in their permitting process, so they will be building back. They have their design plans in place, and it's super exciting. So it'll be a two-story with a walk-in first floor retail pharmacy.
Yes, John, here, Jack here again. Anyhow, for Natasha, thank you very much for your service. And is PG&E involved in the road work? You know, laying of the, undergrounding on Highway 70 after Cresta along there?
Yes, we just completed a project on Highway 70 and we're under dependency clearing for an additional project that we hope will start before the weather comes, but could be delayed due to weather.
Okay, so that section that is right now is controlled one-lane traffic is gonna be one-lane traffic for the foreseeable future?
Are you sure it's at PG&E? Are you talking about the one on, there's a project currently on 89 at the Y.
No, this is on 70, starting at the Cresta Powerhouse, and for about a mile along, there's one lane stretch of highway.
It's down the canyon, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
It could be outside of the rebuild team. It could be a different team that's doing it. So I can connect with you at the end of this meeting and get you an answer.
Well, so, okay, you've taken care of half of the issue. The other half is sort of a safety notice that, okay, my wife and I were on our way up. The light turned green. There was a man there monitoring. He waved us through. We got a quarter mile down the road. We were met by 3 pickup trucks and 2 semis and miscellaneous vehicles behind the semis. So my wife, bless her heart, backed our car a quarter mile back, all the way back to the green light and pulled over. And we had words with the individual. And apparently there was a vehicle that was a truck that was in the rest area. And it was a contractor truck. And he figured, well, I suppose he would turn his little beacon light on for safety's sake. Well, the people back at the red light could see this truck up there with the flasher going, and they figured, well, that's the pilot truck. Well, no, it wasn't the pilot truck. It was somebody who had just stopped at the rest area. And so he brought all these vehicles forward. And, if it would have been, night, or if it had been, sun in somebody's eyes, it would have been, people down in the river. So if you're gonna go travel that section of highway, please exercise caution. Okay, that's number one. Okay, Mr. Johnson, why is the Sierra Institute carrying water for United States Department of Agriculture?
I wouldn't characterize it as carrying water. I don't know if you want to have Joe respond to that, but I'll respond to it first.
Well, he's the one who said that the Sierra Institute was carrying the water for. So on this Sierra.
So I will use that word
Or
then
NEPA,
to say
sorry.
what we are doing, we're taking the lead on the analysis that takes place. We have a contract with the Forest Service to do that work. We have staff that are capable of doing the work. And one of the things that I think a lot of folks know around here is that agencies have been challenged in hiring, they're short-staffed. And so they have very deliberately contracted with us as a local entity, and it leads to local employment. So we have specialists who can do that work. So in the sense, carrying the water, we are working on that project. We're being supported to do that work, and local folks are being paid to do that work.
Yeah, Joe Hoffman, that's where you threw me, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no worries. Probably a bad choice of words. So what they're doing is a lot of the work that our specialists have typically done for planning projects, where they have planners on staff, outreach coordinators, et cetera, and then hydrologists, wildlife biologists. So they can do a lot of that staff work because we don't have the capacity. Right now, we've got, geez, that one, between those two, there was 300-some thousand acres in the planning process. We got another we got about 600,000 acres in the planning process right now for projects. So we're really fortunate that we've got local partners who have experience with National Environmental Policy Act. Sierra Institute has done similar projects on the Lassen National Forest, and we're super fortunate that we're at a stage here, you know, when we've had these disasters, but we've got some partners who've got some skills that can help us with that. But in the end, it's whatever Sierra Institute creates or drafts, it's going to be Forest Service review and a Forest Service decision. So,
Right, so
if
they-
I use the wrong word, I
No,
apologize.
I understand. So they report to you, is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
The answer for folks, he said, yes, absolutely. They report to the Forest Service. It's a legal process that ultimately is the responsibility of the Forest Service. I just wanted to add to that with the listening sessions that we've done, the public engagement processes. We're listening to you. And so while NEPA is a really formal legal process, what NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act, requires is that there's public engagement on federal projects. And so it's really all about it. And that's one of the things that we've been doing for actually quite a number of years. So we are collecting that information. It goes into the planning documents. It goes into the things that are submitted to the agency. And so we're working with that. And if we do our jobs well, it isn't our document. It is officially a Forest Service document, but it's reflecting the will of the people.
Thank you very much. Sue? You mentioned that there's a coordinator being hired by Dixie Fire Cooperative. And to whom will this individual report?
They will be leading the Dixie Fire Collaborative, so they ultimately will be reporting to you, to the community.
Okay, and also, cannot the position description be written to specify the applicant requirements? That is, they will have an intimate personal knowledge of the area which they'll be serving, rather than bringing someone in from Maryland who has no clue about what our needs are, what our desires are, where we want to go. It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, I've flown positions for state employment, and it's pretty easy for us to write.
So I actually wrote the job description. So it is specifically, our first foremost goal is to get a local person from our community. The
Right.
reality is, if we don't have someone, then what do? So our intention is, if we are first interviewing local community members who applied, that's our first priority. Second, if there's no one applicable for that, they do not have the skill set, we will fly again in the community to see if anyone else can. Then if that is not the case, we have to be able to have someone to take this position. That's why it's written that it's open. We are very clear, our first primary goal is to have someone from our community.
Right.
Hands down.
And then you can hire somebody acting and then refly it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would continue in the role until we found that person to be able to transition. So I will be continuing the work I'm doing till December. So whoever comes on board, I will walk with them the whole way through the transition process. If they're really good, I might not have to wait till December, but the reality is, unless we're really doing this properly, transitioning is crucial. Sitting at all the meetings, meeting all the people, making all the connections. Fingers crossed, it's a local person, so that will all be taken care of with regards to the community. So yes, so we are in a very clear process, and we're very clear what we want.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. And the guest, the representative, and is a spot can be open for lunch?
Yes, as soon as we end this meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have one last question and then we're going to go for lunch. And I don't think we've got anything else online. Okay, thank you, Dan.
Hi, everyone, Dan Kearns. I just wanted to take a moment and appreciate the progress that I have observed over the course of these meetings. Watching a representative from PG&E interact with the people in a way that was so human and compassionate is really encouraging to see how we've developed from mostly throwing stones and rotten fruit to hugging each other and sharing flowers. So I'd like to congratulate us on that achievement. I'd also like to just talk a little bit about the scenario we find ourselves in and the difference between the system and the boots on the ground. And I think that applies, and I think we're doing a good job at that. But just as a specific example, there are a lot of things that are systemic, right? PG&E does not have a policy of call before they come on your property. It's a systemic issue. That is one of many examples, right? And so I encourage us as we're going through all of this, we, the people and our representatives, we have the opportunity here to take this disaster and the current situation we've been in for a while and redefine how we want the system to operate. And Tracy, you presenting Title 25 options, that's an example of this actually happening. And so I want to just encourage that. I want to oftentimes, like, I can feel the tension in the room in certain places, right? So I want to thank all of you for doing the uncomfortable thing and showing up and being here and participating. I want to thank all the presenters who sometimes are, for lack of a better description, the face of the beast, right? For standing up there and talking to us and presenting your information and giving us an opportunity to ask questions. And I just encourage us all. The last thing I think, I might be preaching to the choir because you all are here and participating, right? But we all have very valuable input to give and valuable questions to ask. And I just encourage us to ask these folks, pass those requests and comments up the chain of command to the appropriate people. Don't get your dopamine hit from venting on Facebook. Turn that Facebook post into an email to the appropriate source. Give them the opportunity to fix these problems and give yourself the opportunity to help guide them through that. That is their responsibility as public officials and is our responsibility as the public. Thank you for your time.
What happened to Frontier?
I'm not sure what happened to Frontier, so I'll get an update. It seemed to be going really well. They had one piece of property that had to be going round, and they were getting the permits for that with the forest department. That was the last I heard about 3 weeks ago. So hopefully we'll get an update next time. But it sounded to be going well.
Matt, can I just say one more time that Crushable is providing a lunch that's being paid for by PG&E, and right at 1:30, we have a lineup of a number of speakers to talk about the house openings that are there. So all of you are invited to the speakers who are going to be there for only about 30 minutes. And then we're going to be going opportunity open house for the structures that are built right next to Plymouth Bank.
And I heard you, this is the second time, because it's a Zoom, I wanted to say this. This is the second time Frontier stood us up. I'm going to go after them and make sure they don't stand us up again.
Okay, let's go get lunch over.
Can I say one thing? Please, let's take just a moment for the people of Maui and the town of Lahaina and their fire. Just take a moment in your heart and wish them well and wish them many blessings in their recovery. Thank you.